Welcome to Q&A Selling Online, with answers to questions about creating an online empire, promoting products, or building a brand. Your host, private label and e-commerce entrepreneur, Quinn Amorm.
Welcome back, my friends. Today, we have a special guest who helps Shopify store owners sell over 150 million in the last 4 years worth of print-on-demand products. We have with us Christopher Hamze, founder of Teelaunch. How's it going, Christopher?
Very well. How about you?
Very good. So, Christopher, those 150 million that you help sellers sell basically is you supply them with the tool to be able to sell those 150 million. Is that right?
So yeah, we provide, we have an app, and the app allows you to, take your image and create not only the mock-ups, but the products inside of Shopify. And then when a customer places an order, orders come to us, we print and ship and send to your customer and send you the tracking number.
Okay, cool. So you have this, you've been running this and started it 4 years ago. Is that right?
Correct.
How did you get into this?
So it was first step was like loving the technology. Like print on demand has obviously been around since the late 50s, but print on demand in terms of DTG, which is direct to garment, it's a relatively new technology. And so kind of took the plunge, spent almost $200,000 on a machine about 6 years ago. And then we've spent 2 years just bleeding money because we didn't really know what to do with it. Print on demand has, certain strengths. It's not really for everyone, because obviously if you can, if it's a simple design that you can, you want 100 of, you don't really, and you have the money to buy it up front, you don't really need print on demand. But print on demand, it's really well for these, store owners who don't have a lot of money, don't have an idea of what's going to sell, because in the early days of like, I say most of our customers come from the Teespring days of, you sit there and every day you're putting up, 20, 30 designs. Every day you figure out that, 28 of them aren't going to work. And then you just push those, the two that do work.
Exactly that. I know what you're talking about.
So we spent, a lot of years losing money, and then we kind of stumbled upon a few Facebook groups just talking about this new way of selling t-shirts, which, Facebook ads and Teespring kind of came out at the same time. And all these people just figured out, man, this is before we never had the targeting options that we have with Facebook. Because before it was just, Google AdWords, and you can, tell by what they're searching for, what they're kind of looking for. But Facebook just opened up a whole new world. And so we took the plunge, invested all the money we had left in the world in this app, and it just took off. Luckily, it kind of saved the whole business.
So this app is to connect you connects to your Shopify store. Is that right?
Correct. It kind of connects our system to anybody's Shopify store.
Okay, and right now it's only available for Shopify platform?
Correct.
Okay. And Christopher, is it only for t-shirts?
No. So we started, we first started 4 years ago, it was all t-shirts, because that's kind of what people were, that's what Teespring started with, and that's what people were used to selling. But now in the last 2 years, it's gone in so many different directions. Like we do posters and laser etch tumblers and cutting boards and canvases. And we probably have over 100 some product types, because as people's stores evolved and aged over time, very few people found success just selling t-shirts. They realized that, hey, I got this list of 100,000 people that bought a shirt from me that said World's Best Mom. Pretty sure they might also want to buy a World's Best Mom blanket or cutting board or other item.
Yeah, that's very, very true, right? And a lot of people, you could add bigger cart values by having those different things with the same saying. So I'm looking at your site right now, Christopher, and I see, for example, a white coffee mug is pretty inexpensive. It's $3.50. Is this, me as a store owner, is this all I'm going to pay when I order this white mug with a custom print?
Yeah, so that's the entire product cost. On top of that, there's shipping. But yeah, that's the total product cost is what's listed there. There's no additional fees.
So I don't even need to touch the product, right? I just own the website. My client can upload their own image to my site. You're going to print it. You're going to ship it to them, and you take your cut out of automatically out of the store. Is that how it works?
Basically, so there's two types of products. There's basically stock products. So if you can say, you create a design that says World's Best Mom, put it in your store, the customer buys that particular mug. We also have what we call personalizable products, where you can say, okay, now we're going to do, World's Best Mom is in kind of a frame, and in the middle you can add your mom's picture. And those are what we call personalizable products. We have both of them. Yeah.
So we can do both. That's so cool. Yeah. So before there was basically what was available was either or, and this was back in the day, because to be completely honest, between two of us and everybody else that's listening, I did try this before, right? Every online entrepreneur likes trying different things, and I tried it before, and I cannot remember what service I used, but when you say we launched 30 t-shirts and 28 of them will fail, I know that because every time I launch 30 would fail, right? or it's not they would be huge failures, but there was nothing that was a success, right? And then again, there was printing issues. What if the customer tells me that there was a printing issue on my, I don't know, bamboo coaster? How do I deal with that?
Yep, you just email us and we'll send them another one. We have, any sort of defect in the printing of the product itself. Yeah, we just either get the customer a refund or send them a new one.
Man, that is so cool. So why should I use Shopify instead of any other platforms, or why did you build just specifically for Shopify?
Yeah, I mean, initially we only had enough money to do one. So Shopify was one where the majority of people from kind of the Teespring days, they all kind of migrated that direction.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's gone a lot of different directions since then, because Shopify isn't quite, they're not super friendly to foreign sellers, and they obviously, have a little bit harsh when they think you're selling infringing designs, and they'll shut your store down. So a lot of people have migrated different directions, and then we do have more integrations in development. But what's fun about Shopify is since you can install on any server anywhere, and there's a lot of problems that can happen if the server itself is slow or it's misconfigured, and so Shopify was the right choice for the first integration.
Okay, yeah, I personally think Shopify is like super quick to open, and I guess Google always favors websites that are quick to open up, right?
Yep.
Okay, so earlier you mentioned that shipping costs for this are an extra fee.
Correct.
But it's Teelaunch that's doing the shipping, and will you right? It is.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And the shipping costs they're inside. So on the kind of call it the marketing side of the site, it doesn't have all the nitty gritty listed in there. But once you get into the app, it kind of explains to you, because for us we have shipping facilities all over the world. So if you get so it's like a canvas wall art, that can be printed in either U.S., Canada, UK, Australia, Spain, Mexico. So it depends on where it's being printed and shipped from. Depends on what the shipping cost is. So it's kind of like there's a little chart beside every product that shows what the costs are, depending on where.
That makes sense. That's what I was going to ask you, is if you ship to most of the world. I know there are certain countries that most platforms don't deal with, but all the normal ones you do ship to those as well.
Correct. Yeah, we take there's a list of what they call IPA countries, which is the most popular ones and that have the highest deliverability. And we ship to everything, but yeah, we definitely tell people, be careful when, Nigeria and some of these countries that, again, it'll probably get there, but basically what happens is once our post office gives it to their post office, there's not a lot you can do, or not a lot of visibility in some of these countries. So.
Exactly. So right now, let's say if there's a sell into the US, Canada, Australia, whatever, inside my Shopify as an admin, am I able to track its position?
Correct. Yep. So right now, there's a few exceptions that don't have end-to-end tracking, but yeah, otherwise, the minute it leaves, you'll know exactly when it gets there.
All right, hey, Christopher. I know a few years ago there was many people that were making millions selling print on demand, and I always wish I was one of those, but I was never very. I couldn't design anything. I was not very creative. So, are there still a lot of people making a lot of money with print on demand?
There is. It's definitely changed. Before you could have, a very ugly website with 4 or 5 designs and make a lot of money. Now you really have to treat it like a brand. You really have a well-designed website, a lot of different products. You're not probably going to make all your money on the first sale because Facebook ad costs are so expensive. You really got to work your, upsells, downsells, email lists. So yeah, definitely a lot of people. I wouldn't think the market's definitely not shrinking, but it's a little less easy. And so the guys who have kind of remained are the guys who really understand the power of data. really how to make money on the second, third, and fourth sale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the first one should be either loss or break even. Just bring the customer to the platform, then try to upsell them. And if I want to do these upsells, in that case, that has to do just with my another Shopify app, right? It's not something that I do directly inside of Teelaunch, right?
Yeah, no, that functionality we'll have to, because we're really just all ours does is it does the fulfillment and product creation, but yeah, all the store functionality is done through other apps.
Okay, and what are the fees that I have as a seller? Let's say I start a store today, or anybody that's listening wants to start a store today. We have the regular $29 or whatever it is that for the Shopify fee. That it's of course nothing to do with Teelaunch. And then besides the cost of my tumbler or the air freshener that I can pick on your site, do I have any other costs like a monthly fee?
Nope, Teelaunch has no monthly fee.
Okay, so just the cost of the product.
Correct.
Nice. Do you know how many customers you have as of right now for Teelaunch?
I mean, I know, overall, we've had over 130,000 installs in the last 4 years. Active customers is probably in the, 20,000 range.
Oh, that's really good. And how about any success stories from some of your users? Do you know any personally and how successful they've become?
I mean, I can't name names, but yeah, we've had a lot of customers have seen, we have the brands that obviously have seen longevity and they've been successful for the last 4 years. We've seen some people that, really tiny sellers that had one genius idea, threw it on Etsy because we have an Etsy integration and sold, 20,000 coffee mugs. So it's really it's an interesting field right now because although it's not as easy as it used to be, there's still no barriers to being successful. Because again, we've seen people that, again, they're just, stay-at-home moms that are just dinking around on Etsy, come up with a design, throw it out there. Somebody picks it up on some blog or Etsy puts it in their email, and you can sell, thousands of units pretty easily.
Yeah. Do you have a seller account as well? Do you still have one?
So I play around with it. I've never been successful. I think it's a skill set that I'm just not good at.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I mean, it's not about. It's funny to see you kind of study what our sellers are doing, and it's not like you don't need a really good talent in terms of design because a lot of stuff that can be outsourced to people know what they're doing. But to really understanding your end customer, what they need, what they buy, I mean, that's a really powerful skill that you kind of feel like you have it or don't have it. And some of these people have really, especially I think a lot of it's due because the niche they focus on are ones that they're also passionate about.
Yeah.
So a retired firefighter is going to understand firefighters way better than than I would. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And then if you get into the niche where that's so niche down that or niche that you're the only one, then of course nobody besides you is going to buy that, right?
Yeah.
So here, checking out the site here, if I click on a product, there's a download template option. I'm guessing this template is to be able to do the drawings, to do the designs for this coffee mug, for example.
Correct. And so unlike a lot of other apps, I mean, we really are kind of exacting on our templates.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you can just put anything in there and then you kind of drag it around and do all that. But for us, we really want it to be perfect. So each product has its own template. So basically, if you're designing for that coffee mug, you would just take your design, throw it on top of that template to make sure it's formatted correctly.
Yeah.
And then that's what you use to upload it into our app.
Okay. So on my Shopify store as in the admin area, I'm not going to have a built-in option where I just a few clicks, drag and drop, and I make a stick figure. That's not the case, right?
Yeah, not in our app. I mean, initially that was, for us, the sellers that we focused on were ones that either had designers or were designers. Yeah. And this system is meant for them. It's not really built for somebody who doesn't have any design capabilities. And just because, like I said, how it was built originally. And but yeah, I mean, it's still, again, even though you can't do it in the app itself, you can still, most people have, GIMP or Photoshop or whatever and can do all that stuff and then just save it and upload it.
And the mugs, T-shirts, whatever it is, they're all being supplied by Teelaunch, or is it a third party?
So we have a mixture of both. We have our own facilities to do certain core items, and then we also, because we really wanted to provide a variety of products, some that we have no competency in making. So we do have a network of over 27 different vendors that we work with. Like, for example, we have just added a product a month ago, these balloons. So basically you can do custom balloons for, any event. And so that's something that there's only one guy in the country that does this type of balloon. So we kind of had to broaden our network to give the customers the variety of products that we really wanted to.
Okay. And how big is the team right now?
He's pretty small. There's only 5 of us.
Okay. And that from coders and everything, do you do coding yourself?
Yeah, we have two developers, 2 customer service people, or 1 customer service person, so 6 of us then. 2 customer service and 2 designers.
Okay, very good. And do you do any programming or coding?
Myself? No, I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, but no, it's a little bit above my skill set.
Yeah, I like that the term, enough to be dangerous. Yes. And Christopher, what are, for example, the top sellers that you have on Teelaunch?
Yeah, so I mean, 4 years ago it was 100% apparel, and we've slowly seen apparel still the dominant. I mean, it's probably 40% of the business, but we've seen stuff like we have these laser etched tumblers, so it's kind of like a Yeti style drinkware, and those are just skyrocketed in popularity, especially on Etsy. Wall canvas, again, it's a product that has a really high perceived value and a kind of a low actual cost, so that's a real good one. Coffee mugs, again, it's one of those. They've gotten less popular because in the early days when Facebook wasn't so expensive, people could sell a $20 coffee mug and make money, but now to get a conversion for under $10 is, very, very hard. So those have waned in popularity a bit. But it's really, blankets are super hot, especially this time of year. We have these super soft fleece blankets that around the holidays just go like gangbusters.
And is there, for example, if I want to use your templates, do I require a special a tool? Like, for example, to do the Amazon merch, you need a Adobe Illustrator account. Do I need any special tools to be able to design the template that you give me?
Yeah, you don't. It's a PDF, so it opens up in any software program. And we really, we recommend Photoshop just because if you have questions, that's what our team is most comfortable with, because that's what we'll do most of our designing in. And it's one of those things too, where although it used to be very, very expensive, now with Creative Cloud, $25, $30 a month, you can have Photoshop. And so a lot of people opt for that. But we've seen some of the free softwares. People have had success, designing those too.
And then is it the seller's responsibility to check for the copyrights of the designs that they're going to upload?
Yes, it is. I mean, we've seen because of all the issues in the past, most of these factories are actually, they're writing programs to search for this kind of stuff. So while copyright infringement was very, very rampant, when we first started, everyone and their mother was putting, a logo, a team logo on a shirt. Yeah. The industry's done a pretty good job self-policing. From Shopify's side, they're policing it. From our side, we're policing it. And so most people have just realized that, they're used to, they're the kind of out these very blatant copyright infringement is not healthy for anybody. So
exactly. And you find that the people that do those, there's really blatant ones. Is it really because they don't know, or is sometimes just pure badness, I guess?
Yeah, I think that, I can't speak for them, specifically, but I think they just don't care. I mean, we've noticed in our business, most of them are foreign sellers who aren't necessarily worried about breaking U.S. laws because they can't be touched. Yeah. Obviously, if you're a U.S. seller, you're a little bit more worried about it because they can actually find you or have some jurisdiction over you. But it's really, I think it's even like now, like before, I think a lot of buyers, when they saw this infringing kind of shirt, they maybe assumed it was okay and didn't think anything of it. Now I think most consumers are savvy enough to know if it's it's a T-chip website with an NFL logo, it's not a legit shirt, and they don't buy like they used to. So I think in general, the whole industry is kind of just from the customers to the sellers to the printers. They've just either self-policed or it just doesn't make sense anymore to spend to launch this kind of campaigns.
Exactly, because then you end up going to spend money because you're going to have to advertise a product that more than likely will be shut down in no time.
Correct.
Yeah, Christopher, this is fantastic. I'm looking at the site right now, and there's everything I can think of. I can make my own running shoes, cork coasters, platters, posters, pillows. Man, uh, as soon as we're done here, the show, I'm going to have to get my own store. I'm going to try again because you can actually create a brand with this, right? Basically, I design the products or just have a logo and print the logo on everything. I don't have to worry about stocking. I don't have to worry about running out of stock. And is there that risk of running out of stock?
No. So all the blank goods, I mean, they're in stocked in so much quantity. Like one of the guys that does coffee mugs for us, at any one time he has 1 to 2 million blank mugs sitting in their warehouses because they come from China. And that's the fun part about it. Like if you're ordering your own stock, let's say you're ordering your own stuff from China, and you basically say, "Hey, I'm going to order these 100 shirts, put my logo on it, sit in a warehouse." Um, if those sizes don't sell, that design flops. I mean, although the cost is less, there's a lot of risk there. Versus this, I mean, you can scale to an infinity because really, I mean, the way our system works is we have multiple vendors for each product type. So we've really built a robust system to say, okay, if you like, we had this person that had this mug that went just crazy on Etsy, and we had to scale it from 0 to 10,000 mugs in a week because we have multiple facilities, located, all around the country, internationally. It wasn't that difficult to kind of just go from 0 to 10,000.
Yeah, that is really fantastic. So, is there, for example, certain industries have a standard markup? So, if you're dealing, I don't know, with supplements or food or something, in this case, is there such thing as a standard markup? Let's say I buy a power bank for $11 from Teelaunch, and am I supposed to sell it for $29.99, or is it kind of open for?
I mean, generally, I think most people do 2 to 3 times markup, just because to get a sale on Facebook, it's incredibly expensive nowadays. So
Mhm.
if you did anything less than double your money, you're going to have trouble actually making money.
Yeah.
On other platforms, let's say like Amazon or Etsy, we've seen people use less margins because they don't have the ad costs and they're trying to be more competitive on making sales, because then they can use the lists or whatever to be or get their rankings up. And so it really depends. I mean, we really have to kind of work backwards and say what you think your cost per conversion is, and then say, okay, do I have enough margin? That's why like most people don't use mugs as the start of their funnel, because there's just not enough margin to actually break even on the first sale. And so they usually pick more expensive items. Like canvas is really popular because you can buy, let's say our biggest canvas right now is 32 by 48. So this is a massive like 3 by 4 canvas.
Mhm.
You can sell that thing for $200, but your cost is 65. So if you like do 3x on that, say you sell for 200, cost is 65, you can spend $60 in ads and still make $60 in profit.
Wow. Yeah, and I really like. I'm looking at the glass cutting boards. I have some really good ideas for those. Basically, because I could also create these and use them as branding giveaways if I want to. Let's say I have a couple different brands that sell, let's say, my supplement brand, and I could also create items here as giveaways that I want to give my customers, and I create them. Is there a way as an admin that I can create these and then to give away to customers and you just ship them for me as well?
Yep, to the back end of the app, you can what they call manual orders. So basically, then it doesn't. No one has to go through the checkout and then obviously pay the markup, and then it just charges you right at what your cost is. And we have a lot of customers that do that. Big businesses that'll use like tumblers. Tumblers is a really good giveaway because it's something that because really in the giveaways world, you want to use something that they're going to use all the time and then kind of see your brand. And so the tumblers are one where you're using that thing every day, and then you see XYZ supplements, that just reminds you that, hey, am I running low? Do I need to buy more? And so, yeah, there's a lot of those products where they're kind of everyday things. Coffee mug is another good one because it's so inexpensive. A lot of people do that. We have some corporate clients that do it as kind of employee gifts. And that way they can just, reinforce, loyalty to the job. And, we have personalization options too. So that's one thing that's one big thing that I think people haven't really caught on yet, but it's a big, big trend right now. It's personalization, because most people are willing to spend more money for something that's personalized versus a stock item. Because obviously, if it has a picture of your kid on it, it's worth more to you than some generic world's best dad mug.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen a lot of people be successful with personalization, and that's why I've really built out. Like now we have, by the end of this week, we'll probably have 30, 40 products that all can be personalized, and so it gives you this other marketing tool. Because again, if you're fighting against everyone and their mother on Facebook trying to sell, world's best dad canvas, but now I say, hey, for the same amount of money, you can actually put your dad's photo on it. It just gives you a leg up on your competition.
Yeah, of course. And then, is there any tools that you recommend using together in combination with Teelaunch and Shopify?
So, I mean, really, like I said, Photoshop's our go-to.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of ways, like people get kind of discouraged right away. It's like, oh, how could I think of a design? So we tell people there's a lot of places where like there's a lot of really cheap free designs. So for example, say you go on Etsy. Etsy has a side of it where you can buy, they're called Cricut designs. So basically it's like a one color vinyl design. And so there's like 10 million different designs on here that you can use on either, so cutting boards and tumblers are laser etched. So they're not, it's basically, it's either etched or not etched, so black or white. So a one color design is really easy to do. So there's all these designs out there that says, based on all these niches, and they're $1 a piece. You can literally take that design, throw it into Photoshop, make the right file in 30 seconds. Now you have a design for a cutting board or a tumbler, and it's really easy. And then people get discouraged too. It's like, I don't know how to run ads. Start on Etsy. Even though Etsy's gotten more competitive in the last year, it's definitely worth starting out on because you can get sales without running ads. You can really understand what people like because in Etsy's system with likes and all this stuff, you can really kind of test designs before you start throwing money after it. So I tell people if you don't know where to start there, because with Teelaunch, you can do for $9 a month. They have this an option on Shopify where you get no store, but you can still have Shopify.
Yeah.
And then it can connect Shopify to our Etsy integration or Shopify to the Amazon integration. And you can still run your store through Shopify, even though you don't have a real site that you send people to, but you can kind of test for only $9 a month. Mm-hmm. Etsy and Amazon and eBay and whatever other, because they have a lot of different connections from Shopify to third-party sites.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is probably how Grant Cardone gets a 10x of everything, like shoes, shirts, shower curtains. That's cool. I got to start branding, get some branding just like that, and get notebooks, cork coasters, shower curtains. This is incredible. How about tools? Since we're talking about tools, how about tools that you use yourself in your business? What are your favorite ones?
So, I use Photoshop every day. We use Slack for communicating with the team.
Nice.
Which is nice because although we're in the same office, it's just a really easy way to organize things. Like I've used it for 6 years. So I have stuff saved from 6 years ago where an idea was, shelved, and I bring it back to life. I just have to search in Slack and I find, everything I could ever need or want.
Yeah.
Then the basic stuff, Gmail and Google Docs. But yeah, it's really focused on pretty much Slack and Photoshop are our two go-to tools.
Yeah, perfect. And another one should be, as we were talking here before the air, a Google Drive, a big Google Drive.
Yes.
or something where you can upload your stuff to the cloud so you don't lose it like I did.
Yeah, I had the same issue 3 years ago. I lost about 400 gigs. So now everything's backed up to Dropbox, but I also have a local drive too because I actually had it all backed up to Dropbox, but then I lost access to the email address that was attached to that account, and I just lost everything. So now I back things up 2 different ways because there's nothing worse than, and then not knowing, like you have all this stuff, like for you, decades worth of stuff. You don't know what you actually lost or what you couldn't find because you leave it there waiting for it to be there when you want it. You don't really catalog what's there.
Yeah, and every now and then you remember one more thing that was there, and like, oh, that's something unique. It's not the kind of stuff that you can go on the internet and grab. And exactly. I'm not even talking about personal pictures or anything like that because it's mostly a work laptop, but there's stuff in there that are unique. And I guess with so many years working with computers and stuff, I guess someday I would learn, right? Like most people, but it seems like no. Very good. Christopher, for the people that are listening and just like me, they want to start a Teelaunch store right now. Where do they go and how do they start?
So the best way to look is go to the Shopify App Store and search for Teelaunch, because the best way to really understand what we do and how we work is to make a Shopify store. If you have one, just install the Teelaunch app. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out directly. Email address is christopher@teelaunch.com.
And when I get my Teelaunch app, is there a trial period? Or actually, you don't need it because there's no cost. Yeah, even better. That is fantastic. Christopher, thank you so much. This is fantastic. I'm not kidding when I say I'm going to start a store right away because my wife's been wanting one for her plant-based stuff, and I'm going to get one done for her, and then we're going to let her manage it.
Sounds good. If you have any questions, let me know.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for being here, and it was a pleasure.
Yes, thank you.